Michael Keaton's character, Ray Kroc, a salesman in 1954, struggles to market Multi-Mixer's milkshake machines to local drive-in restaurants across the nation. But no matter how hard Ray tries to win over these locations, he keeps failing. During his travels, he is also at the mercy of the tiny enterprise's food-serving methods, which frequently take too long or fail to fulfill his order. Additionally, Ray is not a big admirer of the teenagers who frequent most of these establishments. His secretary June Martino, Kate Nealand, confirms with the sales firm in Chicago that a restaurant in San Bernardino, California, has ordered 6 of his equipment. Ray phones the restaurant, thinking there must be a mistake, and is told that the order of 6 machines was incorrect and that they actually want to purchase 8. Ray is intrigued by the call and drives to San Bernardino, where he discovers a tiny McDonald's. Ray joins a long line and is taken aback by how quickly his order is filled, the use of throwaway food packaging, and the large number of young families placing orders at the stand. The stand's owners, Mac McDonald, John Carroll Lynch, and Dick McDonald, Nick Offerman, are the next people Ray meets. Ray eagerly follows Mac around the tiny stand as he describes the stringent standards they apply to prepare the food and the specially built serving utensils that help them implement their speedy service system. Ray learns about the brothers' past during dinner. They initially moved to Hollywood to work in the film industry, but eventually opened a theater that had to close because of the Great Depression. After that, they established a food cart in Monrovia, which was then relocated to San Bernardino, where it is now. The brothers concentrated on making these the only goods their stand sells, after realizing that the majority of their revenues came from selling hamburgers, French fries, and milkshakes. Additionally, by reducing it to a simple food stand, the loitering of youngsters that is common at drive-in restaurants was avoided, and the disposable food packing reduced the expense of dishes and cutlery. The brothers and several employees spent a day at a tennis court devising their speedy delivery system, sketching chalk diagrams on the courts to determine the most effective layout for the meal preparation. Ray is fascinated by all of this information, and shortly after that, he suggests that the brothers franchise their restaurant. Both claim they tried this in different places, but had trouble upholding quality standards outside of their own environment. Ray spots a painting on the wall of an interesting building during the meeting. Mac reveals that Dick had created the design, which they employed in their Phoenix facility. Ray is sent to Phoenix as a result, and after witnessing the city and its golden arches, he gets fixated on attempting to convince the brothers to support his plan. Ray keeps trying to sell his multi-mixers, but he still has no luck. He observes churches and government structures while driving through several towns before approaching the McDonald brothers from a novel angle. McDonald's restaurants may be a family-friendly setting that is just as significant to America as government and churches. Dick is still dubious about the proposal, but Mac persuades his brother to believe him because Ray has promised to maintain the reputation of their restaurants. Soon, a contract is drafted for the brothers and Ray, with a key clause being that no decisions or changes about the franchise must be approved by the brothers. After immediately signing the necessary paperwork, Ray begins installing a McDonald's in Des Plaines, Illinois. Ray finally has to use his property as leverage after struggling to find money. However, he keeps this information from his wife, Ethel, Laura Dern. Ray goes to great lengths to ensure that everything is done just like the brothers did in San Bernardino when the Des Plaines store first opens. But when he tries to collect sponsorship money from Coca-Cola by putting their name on the menu boards, he ends up at odds with them. Dick McDonald asserts that they won't commercialize his restaurant, despite the fact that Ray thinks it's a fantastic business plan. Even though Ray is enthusiastic about the new restaurant, Ethel is still hesitant about his most recent business endeavor. The two eventually make their way to a local country club, where Ray introduces the concept of McDonald's franchises to a number of men who immediately express an interest in participating in the profitable new business venture. Ray, however, quickly loses patience with the new franchisee's lax quality assurance and disregard for the required menu items. One location even sells fried chicken. Ray makes an effort to encourage the franchisees to perform better, but when he discovers that they don't share his concern for the franchise standards, he cancels his and his wife's membership at the country club, much to her surprise, and looks for alternative ways to attract new franchisees. Ray quickly discovers where he can recruit new franchisees by appealing to the American working class after taking his wife to a VFW dinner and hearing from some individuals there. Franchises are soon to appear in greater numbers. The establishment of a McDonald's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, attracts Ray ultimately. Later that night at a posh restaurant, he speaks with a number of men, including Raleigh Smith, Patrick Wilson, who also wants to operate a franchise. As they converse, Ray can't help but notice a woman playing the piano nearby. Raleigh then tells Ray that this is Raleigh's wife, Joan, Linda Cardellini. Ray appears to like Joan despite the fact that she is already in a relationship. Ray tries to grow outside of the Midwest, but he has financial issues. He calls the brothers expecting to renegotiate, but they are unwilling. The 1.4% of the profits he agreed to is not enough to live on. Further escalating their conflict is the revelation by Ray that the cost of refrigeration for storing ice cream in stores is eating into his profit margins. His wife soon learns that he has mortgaged their home. In the end, Ray stops by Joan and Raleigh's shop. Joan suggests they use a powdered milk blend that tastes exactly like a real milkshake after learning about Ray's problems with refrigeration. After trying the Instamix, Ray joyfully offers Dick McDonald his cost-cutting suggestion, but he is once more rejected. Ray meets Harry Sonnenborn, B.J. Novak, a young man, when he tries to get a second loan to help him with his money problems. Sonnenborn is given access to the company's financial records and quickly discovers a solution to Ray's financial problems. In terms of franchises, Ray ought to purchase the property where the McDonald's sites are planned to be erected. If he owns the property, the franchise owners can lease it from him, which enables him to get monthly rent payments in addition to the added benefit that having land ownership makes the franchisees more obedient to quality control requirements. Sonnenborn's suggestion is successful, and Ray quickly changes the name of his business to Franchise Realty Corporation. When Dick McDonald calls to inquire about this, Ray asserts that FRC is unrelated to McDonald's and is not covered by their agreement. As a result of Ray's plans, the franchises would soon use Instamix to make milkshakes, prompting Dick McDonald to make yet another unhappy call. Dick insists that they are bound by a contract, but Ray won't concede, saying that, like hearts, contracts are meant to be broken. Ray has been becoming more and more in love with Joan during this time, which eventually led to the divorce of his wife, Ethel. In exchange for a settlement, Ray is prepared to give her the couple's home, car, and insurance policy, but he insists that any McDonald's-related assets remain in his name. Ray also starts to explore at hiring lawyers to renegotiate his agreement with the McDonald brothers. The brothers are soon more enraged by Ray's activities when a letter bearing the letterhead of the McDonald's Corporation and naming Ray as president is delivered to them. The two call Ray, and Mac is the one who complains the loudest about what Ray has done, which causes Mac to get so furious that she goes into diabetic shock. Ray appears with flowers and a note that includes a blank check after Mac is admitted to the hospital. This is a sign that Ray intends to buy out the brothers' portion in the business. The brothers set their conditions after realizing they couldn't defeat Ray in a battle. They demand $2.7 million, ownership of the store in San Bernardino, and 1% of the business's earnings. The brothers agree that the 1% deal must be completed on a handshake basis, even though Ray is willing to approve practically everything else. After the discussions, Dick runs into Ray in the bathroom and asks him why, with everything he learned about their business and the way it was managed, Ray didn't just take their idea and open his own restaurant. Ray asserts that such an effort would have failed and that, in the case of what Dick and Mac had, it wasn't just the setup that appealed to him. It was the name. Ray found the name McDonald's to be universally appealing and all-American. When the brothers are compelled to change the name of their business, they quickly rename it the Big M. In San Bernardino, Ray Kroc finally constructed a McDonald's across from the McDonald brothers' stand, and the restaurant's quick success prompted Dick and Mac to shut down. Ray broke his word on the handshake agreement, denying the McDonald brothers their promised 1%, which would have been worth $200 million a year if it had been honored for each brother. Joan Smith and Ray were wed, and they remained together until Ray's passing. She gave the Red Cross and other charities $1.5 billion,